Hello there, and welcome to another, review slash opinion. I don't know what you want to call this. I had a lot of fun doing my Star Wars ranking, and I've decided I'm going to try and do more media video reviews and try to broaden the appeal. Don't want to just make it about sports ball. So, I decide we review the latest season of a TV show that I've really enjoyed. It's Cobra Kai, baby! Strike first, strike hard, no mercy. Now, I remember watching The Karate Kid when I was 10 years old. I enjoyed it, even enjoyed it through my teenage years. And then when they announced the TV show Cobra Kai, I, like many of you, assumed one thing. This is gonna suck. What are we doing? It was on a YouTube Red, or is it even called that anymore? I haven't seen it, but yeah, it's on YouTube Red. And we've all seen YouTube is so good when it comes to making corporate decisions. So, like many of y'all, I wrote this off as just another attempt that's failed hard, and that in 10 years we laugh about as something they tried to do. But then there was something. Little did we know something about Cobra Kai. It's actually really good. Seriously. How's the show this good? How did they find a way to bring something back from the dead? Man, I've enjoyed this show. Season 1 was awesome. I remember watching the first episode, and I was like, I gotta watch more. Season 2 came out, just as good. Season 3 came out, just as good. Season 4 came out. Let's go. And then we get to Season 5, which I like Season 5. I enjoyed it. But I do have a gripe with it, and some of my gripes with Season 5 will get into some of my gripes I had with Season 6. So, I like Season 5, but I'll get into some of my problems later. Again, I did enjoy it. Now, for Season 6, I was disappointed, unfortunately, with the first 5 episodes. So, I think it's important to note that this is 5 episodes of a 15-episode plotline. They're going to release 5 episodes right now. I think they're going to release another 5 in September and another 5 in November to complete what will be the finale season of the show. Why is that something TV shows now do? Like, why do they have to split the final season up into parts? I guess it's to make it feel a little more epicer, but I feel like it's kind of pointless in all honesty. So, if I were to rank all the seasons, I would say, and who knows, like I said, there's 10 more episodes. Maybe this could change. Maybe I'll be watching this video thinking, I really did not know that much. So, I was disappointed with Season 6, and I think when people hear the word disappointed, they think I hated it or it was terrible, which is not true. I did not hate this one bit. I still enjoyed it. I binged through all of them in one day, which is not what I planned. It's a very fun and bingeable show to watch, and this one is. The characters are still fun. I still love hanging out with all the characters. It was still very, very funny. I was still laughing out loud at some scenes, but I was disappointed. And I'm gonna get into it on what unfortunately disappointed me about this season. So, Season 5, and I don't know about you, but I felt like Season 5 had a bit of a finality vibe to it. There felt like there was some finality vibe to it. We've had our main characters, they've all had their rivals. Johnny and Danny, Robbie and Miguel, Tori and Sam. And in this season, it felt like it was kind of coming to an end. Sam and Tori put their beef aside. Miguel and Robbie kind of become brothers. Johnny and Daniel become kind of friends at the end. Johnny even becomes a father. Somehow Miguel's okay with his sensei banging his mom. Again, I thought there was some finality vibe to it, because it felt like, hey, this is how it ends. I'm totally okay with it. And then I'll get into that later, and in this one, and I felt like in order to keep the tension alive, they need to bring back some of the tension. Now, the Miguel and Robbie stuff I didn't think was there, but the Johnny and Daniel stuff, I feel like we've been doing this since Season 1, like, okay, Daniel's more of a defensive, balanced guy, while Johnny's more, this aggressive, be a badass guy. And I'm like, we've seen this a lot. I'm like, I kind of rolled my eyes when I saw one of the trailers. I'm like, oh god, this is not gonna be like the main plot line in the story once again. You can only do it so many times. Another gripe I had with this was, it felt like there were a lot of episodes that felt like they were just filler. Like, there was some stuff I was like, what was the point of that? That didn't really feel like it added anything. And one of them, like, in the first episode, Johnny and Danny get into an argument about what the team name should be. Like, that's the plot line. It's just like, really? This is what we're doing now? And I get it, Johnny and Daniel are kind of egotistical about that kind of stuff, but is this what we're doing? And then we have the overall story, which is that, by the way, this video is now planned out well. I just decided to press record and say some thoughts, by the way. And the overall story of this season is obviously they want to go to the karate tournament. It's basically like the plot of Best of the Best. Heck, it even makes reference to that movie. If you haven't seen that movie, it's a 1989 movie starring Eric Roberts and James Earl Jones. It's a terrible film, but it's kind of so bad it's funny. They're trying to compete in this all-karate team tournament. And I've seen a lot of people say that they don't feel like this is something Mr. Miyagi would have approved of, and that this isn't exactly what it's about, and I kind of see that. And oh yeah, I should have also warned you that I'm going to get into spoilers soon. Yeah, I'm bringing this up like 7 minutes in. This video is terrible, I know it. So, I had my... And I have nothing against it. Like, okay, you want to go out with a big bang. Like, fine, I can look past it. But I mean... Now, I can't decide if this is, Sometimes I feel like do you ever, like, watch a TV show and feel like they're trying to stretch out a plot line? And I feel like this is what they're doing, and it feels like we're kind of stretching this out. Like, we have, like I said, it felt like there were some plot lines that didn't make any sense. And another episode, there was this episode where Johnny wants Sam and Tori to hate each other again, so he invites them over for a sleepover with this one girl of Johnny's. I forgot her name, but he invites them over for a sleepover, and how did nobody, like, go, hey, isn't it a little weird that Johnny, who's, like, 50, is inviting these two 18-year-old girls over to a sleepover? I mean, now, I'll say this, it's a funny scene, don't get me wrong. I was laughing. I loved it when Johnny tried to spell bitch on an Ouija board. But it also felt like, what was the point? This is what we're doing now? And then we'll get into what another gripe I had, which is another plotline that felt like filler, was the Mr. Miyagi plotline. So, Mr. Miyagi was obviously, Daniel loves him, he sees him as like a father figure, and rightfully so. We all love Mr. Miyagi, we all view him as this right mentor. I felt like they tried to add this in some way to maybe like justify it, because I feel like, again, I've seen some people saying that this isn't something Mr. Miyagi probably would have wanted, and that he not would have cared about, and I feel like they just kind of added this, so there's an episode where Daniel and his wife and Chosen, they discover this old box of Mr. Miyagi stuff, and I think they discovered that he fought in that karate tournament they're about to go in, that he was a boxer, and that apparently he stole a necklace and beat up someone. And Daniel's all like, why did Mr. Miyagi not tell him? And his wife Amanda's like, yeah, because the screenwriters just added it. I made that up, but that's what I was thinking. And I'm not a fan of when they try to do this, when they try to just add in, like, something about a character that, like, just all of a sudden now, like, fine, if they want to establish that maybe, hey, Mr. Miyagi wasn't all that great of a guy, like, I just don't get it. It sounds pointless. It felt like it's just adding a conflict we don't need. I never once was invested in it, because I didn't think it was, and maybe it'll lead somewhere big. Like, maybe it's going to go somewhere, but I just thought it was pointless. I'm like, why do we need to add this? I don't really feel like it adds anything to the story. Don't think it adds anything to Daniel or Mr. Miyagi. And then we'll get into what I think, and I hope I'm not the only one who feels like this. It's the John Kreese storyline. So, John Kreese, obviously was kind of in the first few seasons, kind of this manipulative, operates in the shadow, kind of knows how to get on every character's good side, knows how to... And then Well, have you ever heard, I don't know if you guys have heard it, there's a term in television called jumping the shark. It originates from the TV show Happy Days, in which the Fonz jumps over a shark. And many people believe that's what led to the decline of the show Happy Days, which was at the time a very popular show back in the 70s. And some can point. Here are a few examples. Joey and Rachel getting together. Michael Scott leaving The Office. There's a few others. It's when you can point to when a TV show begins its decline. And this one you could argue it's at the end of season 5, so John Kreese, he goes to jail at the end of season 4 and at the beginning of season 5. And I don't know if I'm just a gullible person, which I kind of am, how many people actually thought they were going to kill him off, but at the end it reveals he actually faked his death. He escapes from prison. Look, a little bit of suspension of disbelief is required for, I think, almost any work of fiction. Even, Karate Kid or Cobra Kai, which is, a pretty realistic world, there's no magic and whatnot. But yeah, I've been to, the school fight in season 2 would never happen at a real high school. Not in Texas, at least. But he ends up going back to, I think it was Korea, I think it said it was. I forgot. Please don't call me out if I'm wrong. I think it was Korea. I think it was Korea. Now that I'm saying I think it was Korea. May have been Japan, but I think it was Korea. I'm gonna get canceled. Anyway, there's this weird plot line about how he has to go to a temple to achieve this knife, and then he gets he has to go up against a snake, and it bites him, and he starts having these hallucinations. There's one where he fights Johnny and snaps his neck. Even I'm watching this, and I'm like, what is this? What is this? What are we doing here, people? What is going on here? Thought it was out of place. Felt weird. Felt kind of like they took John Kreese, like I said, who, kind of at first was this kind of manipulative, operates in the shadows, kind of knows how to get on people's sides. What is he now, a cartoon character? And then we have the twist at the end, which, So, they did kind of establish that, hey, Tori's kind of got a bit of a rough life. Her mom's sick and whatnot. I will say, I feel like it was not well established. It felt like they more tried to, say, hey, she's kind of a bitch and does some awful things, but, hey, her mom's sick and she's gotta take care of her. Give her a break. When I'm okay, I didn't think it was developed well, and I feel like if they had done a little bit more with it, it may have felt earned, but anyway, in that episode, John Kreese somehow meets with her in a parking lot, shocked he didn't get, detected by anyone, but what do I know about U.S. Custom Force? So, he shows up to Tori, and he's like, hey, they're never gonna support you, they actually don't care for you, yada yada, and then her mom dies, so... And it gets to another point when I'll come back to it, but anyway, so they can only take 6 members from the dojo, so they bring back Mike Barnes, and you kind of already know who 4 of them are gonna be when they even say, we need 6. I'm like, yep, alright, Robbie, Miguel, Sam, Tori, alright, that's 4. Who are the other 2 gonna be? And there was another conflict about Dimitri and Hawk, which I felt was a little undercooked. If it maybe was going to mean something more. And there was also a plot line about Johnny feeling like one of his, again, forgot her name, that one of his girls from his dojo wasn't getting enough respect. So, and it's hinted that she cheated, that's what I thought. But yeah, another conflict. It felt like they were trying to restart the Anthony and Kenny plot conflict again. Again, felt like we're just our characters are regressing, but yeah. So anyway, they're gonna hold a match to decide who will be the captain, and then between the match between Tori and Sam, it's revealed that Tori has a nervous breakdown, and she reveals that her mother died. However, she still wants to fight, and there's an argument between Johnny and Daniel whether or not she should fight, and then she ends up quitting the team, which I felt like was a little rushed, and they end up putting Dimitri on the team. Felt like this was a little rushed, wait, what? Felt like a little rush. And look, yes, I get Tori's kind of, like I said, she's not exactly the most doesn't exactly have a temper, but I'm like, hey, hey, let's give her a couple days to calm down, or, call her tomorrow, see if she's feeling better. come on, try to win her back. It felt like, now who knows, maybe in the next few episodes it'll do a better job of explaining this, but I felt like, And then we have the final reveal in the show, which it's revealed she's joined John Kreese's team. And I don't know if I was the only person who did this, but I don't want to say I called it, but I was like, why do I feel like there's going to be like a reveal, like at the end of the episode, she's going to like call Kreese and ask, I don't know, why do I feel like there's something that's going to come back to this, and lo and behold, yep, it did, and then that's the end. And who knows, maybe the next 5 episodes, I'm going to assume, are maybe going to explain kind of what happened in between that, so maybe that'll be explained, but I don't know. I thought it was rushed. Feel like we've felt unearned, to be honest. It felt like, I'm really doing this, people. What are we doing? What's the point? Why are we doing this? And I do kind of have another thing that I, kind of wonder about, which is Sony. They've seen, obviously, how successful the show's been and how it's kind of reignited interest in, I think, the Karate Kid. And I think they announced they were going to do a sequel with Ralph Macchio and Jackie Chan. So bring the Jaden Smith film that none of you actually remember. And I guess make it into a cinematic universe of some sort, because we all know Sony is so good with making cinematic universes. We all saw Madam Web and we're like, we want more of that. So, those were my thoughts on Season 6, Part 1. I could be wrong, and I hope I'm wrong about the next few episodes, but I was disappointed. Still excited, but I was disappointed. Alright, thank you for watching. Subscribe, or don't. Goodbye.